Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from McFarlane Toys, in their DC Multiverse line, we are featuring the Rookie and Mr. Bloom. Okay, so today is August 2nd, 2024. I saw this at my local Target yesterday, but I kind of passed up on it. It's kind of a higher priced 2-pack. I think this went for, I want to say $69. It's either $59 or $69 in the States. So I saw it yesterday at the store while I was out doing some grocery shopping, and I'm like, I'm not sure about this. I'll just sleep on it and decide whether or not I want it. And after 24 hours, I was like, you know what? I think I kind of want that 2-pack. So I had to make a run back to Target anyways. I had to pick up a few things, and they still had this in stock, so I grabbed it. So this looks fantastic. It belongs to the DC Multiverse and collection, and it's also a gold label figure from McFarlane. As you can see, it's a 2-pack. It includes the Rookie and Mr. Bloom. If you're unfamiliar with the Rookie, the character is actually the Jim Gordon Batman from the story Superheavy, which was, that's well over 10 years ago. I believe it was written by Scott Snyder and illustrated by artist Greg Capullo. It was one of my favorite Batman stories in the last maybe 15 years. Pretty much Jim Gordon takes up the mantle of Batman while Batman's kind of, dead. And it was a really cool story. Gordon's kind of rough around the edges. They kind of portrayed him as a younger Jim Gordon too. They kind of used his military background to explain why he was still kind of very physical and, why he could still go at it. It's a beautiful looking set. The 2-pack, it's a large box, and both figures, take up a good amount of space inside. If you look carefully behind the Gordon Batman, you can see the display base. We have Mr. Bloom, and then you have the alternate Jim Gordon portrait right there. On the back of the box, we have 2 comic book illustrations. We have the Jim Gordon Superheavy armor, and then we have Mr. Bloom. I kind of feel like they don't make enough use of the package design, because I really think, in addition to having the wonderful graphics from the comic books, it'd be nice if they included file cards or bios, at least explaining who these characters are. Because many times, I'll have people ask me, or they'll contact me on the YouTube, and they'll discuss certain characters, and I'm always surprised at how many of these McFarlane figures people don't really know the backstory of. Most of the time they'll just buy them because they're cool looking figures. But I think it's nice if McFarlane add a little bonus, give some insight into these characters, because besides being great action figures, a lot of them have really, really wonderful stories that are worth looking into. Okay, so we're going to take this out. It's a large box, and it doesn't fit under my camera, so I'm going to have to unbox this off camera, so just give me a moment while I do that. And in the meantime, while I'm unboxing it, you can take a look at this. This was the older DC Direct, DC Collectibles version of the same character. This came out years ago. This was from DC Comics Designer Series, based off of the artwork of Greg Capullo. And again, we have the Jim Gordon Batman in the super heavy armor, and also comes with the Batman. For many of you longtime comic book and McFarlane collectors, you'll remember that McFarlane did this figure last year, and Mattel even did a version of this years ago. So while I'm unboxing this, you guys can take a look at this, and let's get the shine out. So yeah, just give me a minute. So just feast your eyes on the older figure while I unbox the new one. Alright, just bear with me. I'm just cutting the tape right now. Trying to get this open. So the older figure, which is in front of you right now, we are not going to unbox. I've had that forever, and I have no intention of unboxing it. It's one of my favorite pieces from the DC Collectibles line from years ago. Because I was very fond of the Superheavy story. I thought that was such a great Batman tale. All right. And we'll come back to this in a little bit. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the McFarlane offering. And this is a fantastic looking 2-pack. The cardboard backdrop alone is really nice, so I'd suggest don't throw this out. This could come in very handy for your display space. Whether you have a detolf or a bookshelf, the backdrop here is really nice. And it's not ruined either, because sometimes they'll have these nice backdrops, but then they'll glue the plastic tray onto it, or there'll be like punch outs for the zip ties, but that's not the case here. Alright, so in addition to the 2 figures, we have this wonderful display base. There's a lot of rubble and debris. You can see a tire. You can see a couple of foot pegs. So you can stand the figures, comfortably. There's, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 foot pegs. If you're a customizer, this is a great thing to paint up. If it's really detailed, but it's just missing some paint. I think for the most part, most collectors will probably just leave it as is. But if you're a customizer, you'll probably get the bug and want to customize it and, enhance it. As usual, we get the 2 display stands. This one seems impractical because the Superheavy figure looks gigantic. And we have 1 trading card for the Rookie in the Superheavy armor. And then we have Mr. Bloom. Alright, so let's review this Mr. Bloom first. Let's take care of the small guy. And while we're at it, we'll snip these off on the Rookie figure. Alright, this guy has a lot of ties, so just bear with me. It's going to take a while to get him out. But for now, let's take out Mr. Bloom. Alright, his hand popped off. Let's move this over. Okay, so we have Mr. Bloom, one of the villains that was showcased in the story that had the Jim Gordon Batman. I want to say this might be the first Mr. Bloom figure we've gotten. I don't recall DC Collectibles, DC Direct doing one. I don't recall Mattel doing one. So this might be a first. Alright, so right off the bat, I love the buck they're using here. If you're a customizer or kit basher, you can easily swap out the hands and the head and just use the body for some other character. I love that it's a much thinner build. It's very clean on the details. It's almost like animated series in its design. I love the hands too. The hands are fantastic. Again, if you're a kit basher or a customizer, you could probably port these hands over to another figure. If you want to make like a custom Lady Deathstrike from the Marvel Wolverine comics, these are great fingers. The head's wild too. Mr. Bloom with the flower on his over his face on the mask. And let me pull a little bit more light in here so we can see him a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, so it's incredibly well done. I love the transition of the purple that kind of like transitions to the orange to the yellow, and then you have the center of the flower. Yeah, very clean figure. There's no texturing on his top, nor on his pants, and the boots are just very simple. yeah, very clean aesthetic. Very true to form to the comic book, in my opinion. You know, especially the physique of the character. You know, he's very wayfish, very thin. In terms of the articulation, you have a good amount of movement in the head. The arms, likewise, he has the traditional McFarlane ball socket for the butterfly. His arms move, cut above the bicep, double pinned elbows, and the standard articulation for the wrist that we're so accustomed to with the McFarlane figures. He has a cut mid-torso, like around the diaphragm. Allows for some rolling movement. He doesn't really want to arch forward or arch back all that much. You know, it's more side to side. No waist swivel. His legs kick up about there and to kick outward. Doesn't do full splits. Slight twist on the upper thigh. Double pinned knees. And articulated ankles and toes. In terms of his height, let's pull out a ruler here. This dude stands in a little under about 7 1/4, I'm guessing. And for a size comparison, here he is to my favorite McFarlane designed Batman figure. Again, remember this is an older figure, which back in a few years back they were a lot taller and larger in scale. So that gives you an idea of the size. Oh, here he is next to a Marvel Legends figure. Here's a Diamond Select Gotham City Alfred figure. This is the Sean Pertwee figure. So there's a Diamond Select figure for a size comparison. And then here's an older Mattel Movie Masters Batman. So yeah, I think it's a great figure. It's nice that he almost feels like he's a bonus. It kind of feels like you're buying the set more so for the Gordon figure. And this guy's kind of like almost like an accessory. But yeah, it's a great figure. I like this a lot. All right, that brings us to this. We have the Jim Gordon rookie figure. We have the alternate portrait right here. It's the Jim Gordon head. If you remember, he kind of had a mohawk in the comic book, but I think they kind of gave him a little bit more hair on the McFarlane figure. It's very almost like RoboCop too, minus RoboCop's helmet with the visor. All right. Whoa, this is a big boy right here. All right, so we have the rookie. It's funny, if you've ever seen, I think it's Imagine Next. If you ever go to like Walmart's or Target's, and if you go like where they have like the toddler toys, and there's like the Play School superheroes and the line done by Imagine Next, I think some years ago they had a version of the rookie armor, but it was gigantic. It was almost the size of like a small child. It was like a play set, if any of you are familiar with that. But yeah, this thing is huge, has some weight to it. It kind of reminds me of if you're familiar with the anime Evangelion, this kind of reminds me of the mechs in that, especially with the really wide chest and the narrow waist and kind of like the longer limbs. And this thing is huge. Let's pull a ruler out. How tall is this guy? So from the bottom of his foot to the top of his antennas, you're looking at a figure that's 11 inches. So this is a big boy right here. Just give me a minute. I'm going to grab something. Just to give you an idea of the size, here he is next to a 12-inch Spin Master Joker figure. So yeah, this is a very sizable figure. And let's pull out the Batman just so you can see. See, this guy is huge. So the idea of this is that there's a man inside of here. So Jim Gordon wears this as body armor. So if you can imagine, here's Mr. Bloom. If you can imagine Jim Gordon on the inside of this, that gives you an idea. So yeah, it's a wild looking action figure. It's really big. Up close, let's take a look at the details. He has the missile pods on both shoulders. He has the head with the large antennas. The antennas, I don't think they're articulated. I don't want to force them, but they're made of a softer rubbery plastic, so if you drop it, it's not going to snap off. The visor, this is very clean. It's just an opaque black. It's not transparent. He has the police lights on both sides of his chest. He has the red light and the blue light. Unfortunately, they do not light. He has the embellished, it's not an emboss. It's actually a relief. The Batman symbol on the chest. He has the Gotham City PD markings below his chest. He kind of has the skirt piece on the sides. The gauntlets with the kind of like almost serrated looking blades. And here's a look at the back. All right, so I'm very stoked on this, but at the same time, part of me kind of feels like, especially with McFarlane's track record, I kind of felt like they could have taken this a step further and embellished more details that aren't necessarily comic book accurate, but something that would really put this over the top. You know, like maybe some metal mesh textures on this or hex patterns or something. But it's a beautiful piece. It's going to be a standout figure. You know, the other day I was watching my old Swamp Thing review. I did a review on the McFarlane Swamp Thing maybe like 2 years ago. And that was such a beast of a figure. And I love that figure so much. It's so detailed. And this here, I kind of feel like it's almost in that same league. But it's the only thing holding it back is that it's not as crazy detailed as I feel like it could be. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on this. I think it's fantastic. When I look at it, I see the opportunity just for so much, you know, you could do to this. If you're a kit bash or a customizer, especially if you want to like repaint it, you're gonna have a field day with this thing. It's huge. It gives you a larger canvas to work with. In terms of the articulation, his head kind of moves like so. His arms, and there's a butterfly joint right there, the ball socketed style. Very smooth. It's like butter. There's a bicep cut right above, and it's nicely hidden because of the way the armor is designed. You have double pinned elbows, articulated wrists. He's very top heavy, and this kind of moves around. There's a waist swivel, legs kick upward and outward. Again, I don't think that the included display stand is going to hold this guy comfortably. I almost kind of feel like you need one of those doll stands that you can find like at Hobby Lobby or at Michael's to hold this in place, just because he's very top heavy and it feels like it's a clumsy figure. You know, I feel like even though he's articulated, if you try to get him in any pose where he's leaning too much, he's just going to topple over. But yeah, it's a great figure. Both figures I think are fantastic. You know, I think it's I can't say it's a value because it is a pricier set. Like I said, I think I paid either $59 or $69 for it, which is a lot. But keep in mind, this is about the equivalent of a McFarlane Megafig. And those generally run for, by themselves, you know, $40, I think. And then you're also getting the display base, 2 extra stands, the cardboard insert, which I think is nice. It's a nice accessory. I don't feel like it belongs in the same category as the packaging just because it really feels like it could display that by itself. And you're getting a figure, you know, back in the day, this would have ran you $20, but with the price hike, you know, these are about maybe $24 nowadays. So I think the asking price is reasonable at $69. So, and before we wrap this one up, I just want to compare it real quick to the older DC Direct figure. Now the McFarlane one is gigantic next to this guy. This guy's kind of small. But I do like the paint finish on this one. This actually looks more metallic, where this is kind of that swirly blue plastic. You know, it looks like plastic, whereas this one looks like a nicer metallic finish. This one has the swappable head. Let's see if I can take it off real quick. Yeah, this comes out easy. I thought it was going to be like a chore. So comes with a removable helmet, and they can swap it out and put the Jim Gordon head on. and it looks pretty cool. I dig that look a lot. It's kind of odd because if you try to imagine the actual human figure inside of here, it doesn't feel like the anatomy is correct. I am a little bit more partial to the Batman head on here, though. And I'm also curious because I don't recall them having the GCPD labeled on the chest. Even on the box art, that wasn't there. So I'm not sure if that's just McFarlane embellishing. You have some differences with the color scheme on the belt. This one has the red lights. This one has the yellow ones. And then this has the alternate head also for that one. Yeah, so if you never got this, I believe this was the only like normal action figure representation of the Superheavy Jim Gordon rookie figure. And if you didn't buy this back in the day, this one here is well worth the purchase. But if you have this one, I do kind of think, you know, it wouldn't be a bad thing to buy this guy right here. I think it's a nice update. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.